The following is a production of Salt and Light Radio in Boise, Idaho. Kick off your work boots and pull up a boulder. It's time for Man Cave, discussing the issues that affect Catholic men in today's culture. Grab your favorite beverage, pick out a comfy spot around the campfire, and enjoy today's conversation with our two favorite cavemen, Pat King and Brian Howe.
Let's go to your Boy Scout life. Let's go to your Boy Scout leadership. How'd you get involved with that? So what is this with all that's going on? Give us a public view of what is allowed or what's legal, or in the Boy Scouts today. What can we do that, because it's a Catholic Boy Scout troop, right?
That's true.
So
with no Catholics in it.
Which we're trying to.
We'll tell a story about that.
But so how
to get involved? Well, I was never a scout growing up. It was too far to go to town, and my dad.
Town was Moscow.
Town was Potlatch.
Oh.
And
you was too far. You lived way out.
We lived 10 miles from Potlatch.
Oh, from Potlatch.
So that's too far to go and waste gas to go to a meeting just for a
once
kid.
Once a week
for a kid. So I didn't do that. But when about 1986 or so, when we lived in Emmett, we started to get involved in scouting. Emmett and Jim County has a very strong scouting program. The scout leaders there sponsor an annual event called Willow Creek. And
never heard of it.
And it's a big gathering of scouts, and it just shows that the long-term commitment of scouting in that area. But anyway, so when my boys, Denny and John, were of the age of scouts, and they got involved, and we assisted with that. And then we moved to Caldwell here, and we just started to look for scouting opportunities. And my wife, mainly in being involved with Cub Scouts, she kind of took the lead there for
And how many kids
years.
do you have? How many children?
I have 9 children. I have 6 boys and 3 girls.
Wow, that's a small family.
All 6 of my sons
are Eagle Scouts.
Yeah.
I know. I got to read at Jesse's last at his.
Oh, that's right. You did
the benediction. What was it?
You did the benediction.
The benediction. Yeah,
the benediction.
That was cool.
Thank you for doing that.
Well, I was honored to. It made me somebody important.
As a segue to the current situation, I wish that my daughters could have benefited from a scouting experience. They were in Girl Scouts, but Girl Scouts
has a different philosophy.
It's a different philosophy, and nothing against the Girl Scouts.
No,
but
it has been a trend. More politicized.
Yeah, I think the girls want to be where the boys are.
If they taught Girl Scouts the same way they taught Boy Scouts, I think they would be.
Yeah. Who knows? Because
they've never taught it that way.
So what we have, and what I've proposed now, is that we have a family pack led by my son Alex. He's the Cub Master.
Okay.
And in the family pack, it's mainly my grandchildren that are in this pack. Both girls and boys.
Yeah.
One of my daughters, Laura, is a den leader, and so she is the female leader that takes care of the girls that are going to be in that pack. So it kind of makes sense from a family aspect. This works out really well because when you go to the meetings, you just bring everybody.
Yeah, you're not separated.
You're not separating. You're not dividing things. Again, you're including people, including everybody, and it creates an atmosphere where all kids can partake and all kids can.
For example, what's happening with the Knights of Columbus, and it started right here in Idaho. Travis Wingo has gotten permission to have an actual council called the Family Knights Council, which allows husbands and wives and their family to be part of a Knights. Knights is mainly a men's fraternal organization, and so we don't have councils that have involved with men and women and stuff like that. So Travis was able to start a family night as a little trial, and has been given council status, I believe, and is
wonderful.
recognized as a council. And they're still formulating all the procedures, but they follow. They meet weekly though as a family, but it's kind of like that family that prays together, stays together. The family goes to nights meetings and stuff. It's not a separate. Now, my council in Caldwell has a nights social. So we have our business meeting once a month, but then on the third Tuesday of the month, it's open to entire families to come. We mainly do a potluck. It's just a nights social. So we gather as nights, but as a family. And they come, and the kids come, and they play around, and we all bring different foods to share. Right now we're doing a theme of different types, like German food or Italian food or whatever. We have a theme to it. Like last month we did Christmas leftover theme, where people just brought whatever they had left over from Christmas and
Yum.
wanted to get. Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, the one thing. I don't know why there were so many leftover cookies and desserts, but there was a lot of cookies and desserts at this night's Christmas leftover theme. So I don't.
People are going on diets.
Their
New Year's resolution.
And what usually as I do the cleanup, and whatever food's left over, I either take home or I try to give away. They left a lot of desserts, and they end up at my house or at the rectory. So.
Well, as it should.
As it should. But so we're trying to do more to make the family feel included. The reason why I don't like that term is they politicized it so much. That inclusivity.
Yeah, they've stolen it.
They've stolen it, just like a lot of different words. So I'm very cautious about using that word because I don't want to sound like I'm some liberal whack job or something that's including. So yes,
you're just a whack job.
I'm just a whack job. I just want to be a regular whack job, not a liberal whack job. But anyway, quit laughing over there, Eddie.
So I wanted to tell you about the controversy. So, and I believe this too, is that separate groups.
But there's several controversies going on in the
a lot. It's not just
gay leaders, gay troop leaders, and
all of that. Yeah. So in our troop, I used to be the chartered organization representative, which I'm the one who chooses who the leaders are or propose them to the pastor, and then the pastor approves who it is that are in the leadership. So that's supposed to be the way in which the controls are promulgated. In addition, there's background checks on each of us that are leaders, and we sign releases saying that, yeah, you can do a background check.
You can know everything about my past.
You can know everything about my past. So that's true for all the leaders. Plus, every leader goes through youth protection training, which is you have to go through. It's about a 40-minute class, 45-minute class every 2 years.
Even religious at our parishes throughout the state of Idaho, and I know most dioceses are like this.
They call it safe environment. Safe environment.
If you're teaching or you're involved with youth at all, you have to go through this, and it's an annual renewal of your certificate.
Yes. And so we have to do those things, and our leaders are trained in that. And in order to even be registered, you have to have had that certificate in hand saying that you've taken the youth protection training and you're knowledgeable about these issues. So we've got a family pack, but when a scout turns 11 or in 5th grade, then they have the opportunity to join a troop.
A Boy Scout troop.
A Boy Scout troop.
Right.
Now, we do not have mixed boys and girls troops. You have girl troops led by a girl scoutmaster.
Still called Boy Scout, though.
Scouts of America.
Scouts of America. But they're managed by the concept, the umbrella of the Boy Scouts of America, that it's not the Girl Scouts leading a troop. It's the Boy Scouts of America, Scouts of America. I know they dropped the boy, but it's not a mixed troop. It's under the umbrella. They go through the same merit badges and all that same stuff.
Yes, all the same
just
training.
As a separate but equal.
Right.
Under the same umbrella.
And where they come together is during the summer camp, where the female leader
and stuff
will take their troop, and they have their separate camping area, and the boys have their separate camping area. So this is one of the controversies and fears is that, you're going to be camping together with the girls. Well, that is not going to happen, or should not happen.
Should not happen.
Should not happen.
I mean, people will do what people end up doing if they want. I mean, you build up a fence or put a lock on your door. If you want to get in, if you're really intending on wanting to get in and steal something, you're going to get in. So if you have bad apples, it could possibly happen. But you've taken as many measures as absolutely possible to prevent that from happening.
So the more recent controversies regarding the lawsuits against the Boy Scouts of America and the result payments that the National has had to make, they had to declare bankruptcy because of this. They had to sell some of our treasured properties.
In order camps, a lot of them are campgrounds.
Wonderful places. I've seen some of them.
They still have the one up in McCall, though?
Yes. Yeah, our own council has that. Yeah. But each council has also had to pay, maybe it just involves selling some of their investments, but they had to divest some of their assets in order to pay these claims. Yeah. And so I think we've just finished that. I don't keep up on it too well, but I know that all the claims have been closed, dealt with, and now payments are being made.
But didn't recent laws make that almost, even though they were suing for the same thing that they're trying to prevent, they were forced to then change laws, their own structure, to allow more of that to actually happen, right? With the gay troop leaders and stuff like that, right?
A person could make a case for that. I would direct people to the Catholic Council on Scouting, and they have position statements on their websites that talk about how they feel about these kind of things and the dangers and how they feel we should be moving forward from here on out. But one of the things that they teach us in youth protection training is too deep leadership.
Right.
You cannot have
ever one-on-one.
No one-on-one interaction with scouts. Nope. You've always going to have another adult leader that's trained and registered to deal with that scout. Now, that relates to any kind of meeting or interaction or discipline with a scout has to involve that too deep leadership. So
no, that's the same on even the religious ed side or any other involvement, is that it's too deep. It's never one-on-one. No
private or secret organization.
Yep.
No private conversations that can't be overheard by someone that's watching or there in the room with you. So I think all of these things are good.
And I think the Catholic Church has done a very good job of nipping those problems in the bud and not letting them just fester. They're actually stopping it and training everybody. I mean, it's quite an effort to make sure that the youth are as protected as possible. So with the because you're a Catholic troop now, I thought, okay, so just correct me if I'm wrong. I thought because we were a Catholic church, you didn't have to abide by some of the other legislation or rulings that courts have put on the Boy Scouts of America as far as leadership goes. Is that true, or what?
What is true is that the local chartered organization, which is Our Lady of the Valley, or any Catholic church or any Methodist or Lutheran church, can choose their own leaders.
Okay.
And if there's a case where someone comes in and says, I want to be a leader, and I'm this way or that way, it doesn't matter,
they can deny them.
I don't know of a case where they've been successful in getting themselves to be accepted in there. So
then why the Mormon Church was a very big, very involved in the Boy Scouts. I mean,
one third.
Yeah.
Or more.
And they left.
Yes, they did.
So why did they leave? What was the reason for them leaving?
They give several reasons, but one of the reasons that they gave, and I have lots of LDS friends that are still involved with scouting, they said they were going to go their own direction and have their own international, because the LDS Church is international, just like the Catholic Church is international. They were going to have their own youth program and their own outdoor program.
Okay.
And so they were going to say, we're going our own direction. It was at the same time that all this, a lot of these controversies were taking place. Them
leaving wasn't affiliated with the fact that, and to put it in a better word, liberalizing the Boy Scouts of America. This had their decision to leave.
It was part of their calculus, I am sure, that they said, hey, now's the time to leave.
So they may have been planning this, but this was the catalyst that kind of, the straw that broke that camel's back. Said, okay,
that's right.
They've made their final decision, we're leaving. How successful is their organization? Are they...
I can't tell you that. I don't know.
Because I haven't heard anything more about it.
But I can tell you that the LDS leaders, the scout leaders, have continued to be involved in scouting on their own. They're not sponsored by
their church.
They've had to join another troop or another community organization, I'll call it, to continue their involvement with scouting.
Okay, well, because I haven't heard anything more about how successful or unsuccessful their own separate program has gone. So I just...
you could tell your listeners to leave comments below, and they could tell you.
They can leave comments anytime they want, not just from this show, but they can always ask questions. And if you ask a question, I know Monty pretty well. I just send him a message, say, hey, what's the answer to this question? He knows it all.
And I can answer. I can
just
say, yeah.
How long have you been? Now you're the
Scoutmaster.
Scoutmaster. How long have you been doing that?
Since 1986 or so.
But how long have you been the Scoutmaster?
Oh, off and on, last 10, 15 years.
Okay. Yeah, so
yeah,
my council, Knights Council, 3086 sponsors them, and we
used to, yeah.
We used to sponsor. Well, it was easier when you were all under one roof, and we went to St. Mary, the old St. Mary's. It was easier. You were there on Tuesdays. It was a camaraderie. We've tried many things, but now you are off campus and into a Baptist.
It's a Nazarene church.
Church.
And it's only because they don't have space on that Tuesday night.
Yeah, we don't have anywhere to go.
To meet,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. We have a pavilion, but it's cold in the winter and hot in the summer. And, you don't even have a place to store their stuff. It's kind of a challenge. But if we can ever build that other wing, we'd have a night. Knights don't even have their own room either. We just got told that our meetings for our night socials have been pushed to either the gym or a conference room, which is very small.
Here's an idea. If they will build it, we will come.
That's right. I think
it's wonderful.
So
good opportunity.
How you said how many boys do you have now? And none of them are Catholic currently.
We have 7 boys.
7 boys.
And I have the Catholic boy that just turned 18. And of course, once
he's aging out.
He ages out, but both he and his father are Catholic from St. Paul's, the Piper family.
Okay.
Will and Glenn Piper.
So
yeah,
we need to grow your troops.
I need to recruit. So if you're interested in becoming a Boy Scout, come see me.
Yeah.
Come call me.
Is Boy Scouts, with all the challenges they've had, is it growing again? Is it where's the state of it right now?
Well, I personally believe that it's starting over in a lot of ways. We still have the same program, but I think more than ever, young men.
Oh, I fully agree.
Need training on how to be a leader, and it starts with caring.
How to be go from boy to man. It teaches you everything. I mean,
that Eagle Project that they do, that culmination, many people call that a rite of passage. That Native Americans had those kind of activities where a young man knew he could say, well, on this date, on this moon, I became a man because I went on my vision quest or whatever.
Right.
So for Scouts, when you achieve that rank of Eagle, there's a lot of symbolism in that award that tells them, you are a man.
I I never even really got close to becoming an Eagle. In fact, that was never in my plan. I guess it is somewhat, that's all Boy Scouts' plan, is to lead them to where they become an Eagle Scout. But for me, I liked the fact that I had brothers that weren't my brothers, because my brothers all picked on me. My older brothers all picked on me. And,
How come they picked on you?
Well, they thought I was annoying, but, I was the middle child. I just got
You got it from
they
both
were
ends.
they were 4 and 5 years older than me, and the youngest brother was 4 or 5 years younger than me. So I had sisters. The closest siblings were my younger sisters. So there was a big gap. There was 4 years between my brother. It was a miscarriage or a stillborn between my older brother and me. So I was an accident, actually. My mom was told not to have any more kids after that happened, but then I came and 3 more after me. So,
Well, God bless her.
yeah, I agree. So I was just that middle child that I got picked on. I couldn't pick on the younger ones, but I got picked on by the older ones. And for me, I became loudmouth because I was so stifled by my other siblings that if you didn't speak up, you didn't even get to eat. So, I learned to yell for my food.
First up, best dressed, right?
Yeah, well, no, I wouldn't go there. But anyway,
But you did okay.
I did okay.
You survived.
I hold my own. I can pretty much out eat them. I can outcook both of them. So, but so.
So you asked how Scouts are doing. We see an increase in membership, and it's growing in our area.
Okay.
But we've got more to go.
Nationwide, it's still growing. Is it still the acclaim? As like, to me, you said you're a Boy Scout. Everybody knew you were in a good program, good organization. In fact, they would say, "Oh, you to grow up, you got to be a Boy Scout." I mean, that was kind of.
Well, there's an expectation nationally. I think people associate with Boy Scouts.
As honor, duty,
think honor, duty, they're
responsibility,
they're
leadership.
patriotic.
Yeah.
They know how to handle the flag. They know how to tie knots. Can I tell you a quick story about knots?
Sure.
So my youngest son, Jesse, joined the Navy, and he went back to boot camp. And one of the questions they asked right off is, who are the Eagle Scouts in this division? Well, 2 kids raised their hand. And they said, okay, do you both of you know how to tie the bowline? And only my son raised his hand. So he ended up teaching the bowline to the rest of the division. So again, these skills that we talk about that we teach, any one skill is just part of the flow of things. But it's very, very important later in life.
Yeah.
And who knows what skills you're going to draw upon as a youth when you're an adult.
Well, my mom was a Cub Scout leader because, of course, we had all these boys in our family, and she was that person, that loved to teach and stuff like that. So I was a Cub Scout. I went to the Weeblos. I was a Boy Scout. But for me, the journey for Boy Scout was the enjoyment of learning skills. Father wasn't around from the time I was 11. So being in Weeblos and Boy Scouts gave me that fatherhood, that brotherhood that I didn't experience through my own family. Not putting anything down like I said to Eddie one time, I said, my mom was a terrible father, but the best father I had. Okay, because she was my mom and my dad. That's what she had to be. But that wasn't the role she wanted to be. She just wanted to be mom. She didn't want to be the one that taught me how to shave or whatever. So, but that's why the Boy Scouts and the altar boy was a great push. She would make sure we'd get there. But the Boy Scout troop, I learned a lot of things that a father should have taught their own child just through basic, like camping, changing tires, checking the oil, just things like that. I learned through the Boy Scouts. I learned a lot of those things because that's what troop leaders, scoutmasters do. They teach those basic life skills.
There are skills that you practice.
Right.
It's applied learning, in contrast to my school teaching where you're on lesson 3 on page 46, you take a chapter test and you're done and you move on.
Exactly.
No, these skills are applied.
Right.
And they're applied in an outdoor setting most of the time.
Right. And you're taught that if you just apply yourself, if you taught some basic, school teaches you thinking, some education, some academics, some basic things, maybe how to fill out a checkbook and maybe.
Oh no.
Well, no, I actually went through.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay,
in,
good.
In 7th or 8th grade, they taught us how to balance a checkbook. They taught us how to fill out an employment application, stuff like that. And that was maybe a life science
Nowadays
class.
they say, what is a checkbook?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true nowadays. But Boy Scouts, so I'm capable of doing a lot of things that without the Boy Scouts, I would never have been able to do, because I was safety of a hatchet or safety of a saw, how to use power tools. But it taught me how to look at my talents and figure out how to do something, how to resolve a situation, how to come up with a solution to a certain circumstance out in the woods or out camping, how to cook over a stove, open fire. It gave me those opportunities to try stuff that I would have been either too afraid to do or not willing to try, because I wasn't in those environments to do those things. So, I mean, shoot,
where are all those adults that like those things, that do those things? What do we call those people nowadays?
Boy Scout leaders?
No, after they grow up.
Lazy? No, I don't know. What? Well, they should be the next generation's teachers. They should be the ones that become leaders in Boy Scouts.
Well,
or
what I'm thinking is they become the survivalists and the preppers.
Right.
And it's somewhat of a negative connotation.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
some people that just say, "Oh gosh, he's a prepper."
He's a prepper. Well,
or he's a
the
survivalist.
What was the Boy Scout motto? Always be prepared.
Be prepared.
Yeah. So, but that's what taught me. You get leave early on a foggy day so you can go a little slower and get there safely. Be prepared for the environment that's facing you. But I think those people that learn those skills ought to be the next generation's teachers of those skills. I think every Boy Scout should be in some form of education of the youth for those types of skills.
And let's talk about physical fitness as well.
Yeah, let's not talk about that right now.
When you are off of the couch and out of the car and in the woods, climbing the mountains, walking on trails, that's physical fitness, and it's applied to movement and learning how to be comfortable in the outdoors. That's an incredible skill to learn, not just to survive, but to be comfortable.
Right. And so I went on a 50-mile hike with our Boy Scout troop.
You did?
And,
Great.
yeah. And, we never got to finish it because the weather really turned bad to the point where here it is, the middle of August, and a snowstorm was going to come. This is up at Lake Yellowbelly above Redfish and Imogene and those other small lakes back there. Mm-hmm. That was our hiking pattern. And yet the weather, we had a couple kids suffer from hypothermia because they got too sweaty because of the way they were dressed, and then they didn't change out of those wet into drier clothes soon enough to where they could their body, and so we had to deal with that. But it was cold. It turned the weather, so we ended up turning back and finish out our camp at a lower elevation and just deal with the rain. But those things at 15, 16, 17 years of age taught me how to pay attention to the environment and not think, oh, well, this is our plan, let's just move on forward. You learn to adapt more quickly. And I appreciate those times in the Boy Scouts where you were faced with the reality of real life and you had to make good, smart decisions for survival. And I wouldn't have learned those. I don't think I would have ever learned those anywhere else.
Do you think people have a general lack of awareness?
Oh, absolutely.
Of what's around them nowadays?
I think they have a lack of awareness because we can always get into our car or we can always go back home and turn on the heater.
You can pick up your phone.
We don't know how to survive without basic needs and necessities and comforts around us. But learning to cook on an open fire when the firewood is wet, or one of the things we learned to do is we were going to be cold. We couldn't go down because the guys decided to stay. It was raining.
Did you have a tent?
We had a tent, canvas tent. We built moats around it so the water would run off.
Which we don't do that anymore.
You don't do that anymore?
No.
Why? You don't camp in the rain anymore?
Yeah, we camp in the rain, but you have rain flies that go over it, or you can put a tarp above that and spread
Right.
that water
this
out
was
further.
Right. Well, this was done so you could step out of your tent and not be in a puddle. We had to direct the water flow away from us. So we were on slope. But anyway, we also learned that we stuck rocks in the fire, got the fire going.
Yep.
We'd put a little
Good.
Canopy over the top so the fire wasn't getting rained on all the time. And we put rocks in there, and then we buried the rocks under our sleeping bags.
That's
and
a
keep
secret.
We just built this little trench. We'd put 7 or 8 rocks all up along the length of our body, bury them back in the ground, and put your wet ground mat, and then put a sleep.
You were camping at a high level,
and we were toasty warm. Let me tell you, and they were big rocks; they weren't small ones, and they kept us warm throughout most of the night. It was once you got your sleeping bag warm, your body temperature then took over and helped keep it warm.
Another thing you can do, even if you don't have a tent but just have a lean-to, you can build what they call a long fire, where you build a fire that's not just one area
circle. Yeah,
you make one that's a length.
And you put
6
your
to
tents
8,
around it,
and you put your lean-to in front of that, and that infrared heat can make it quite comfortable.
Yeah. So so hey, who knew this podcast would then turn into survival lessons from the Boy Scout master himself? So, no, this has been a great interview with Monty. I've really appreciated you coming in through this foggy, slippy road to come here today and do this podcast with me.
It's been a pleasure.
This is why he's a wealth of knowledge. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he does all this. Now, are you finally retired from teaching?
Finally retired, yes.
Not even subbing in, or are you still doing a little bit?
Not subbing.
Oh, wow. That's because you have a busy. He plays guitar every Sunday mass. He still runs the Boy Scouts. He's even had me do a cooking. Did anyone learn anything when I taught that sausage?
Oh, yeah, we have practiced biscuits and gravies many times.
How come I haven't been invited to be the judge? They're any good?
Well,
because I like biscuits.
Let the record show that you are invited the next time we have biscuits and gravy.
So yeah, that was fun to teach those kids, and it was out. It was rain. Wasn't it raining?
Yeah, it was kind of cold and
rainy.
And we
still made it happen. It was delicious, and
and
there was no leftover gravy, which kind of because I like leftover gravy. Anyway, Monty, thank you for coming in today.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. And you've been listening to Pat King's Man Cave, Salt and Light Radio, Boise. Go to the YouTube channel, look us up, subscribe, like. If you have comments probably have more comments for Monty here, but I will make sure he gets them. They never comment. I get a few likes, but
do you have them click the notification bell?
Hey, that's part of the YouTube channel. Oh. If you subscribe to the channel, Salt and Light Radio Boise's channel, then you get the notification when anything they put out. They've got 4 or 5 different podcasts on their channel. And when anything comes out, then you get the note. And I'm disappointed to hear that you don't even subscribe.
I didn't even know, but I will fix this.
Yes.
I will subscribe today.
You better. So anyway, Monty, thank you for coming in today, and I appreciate your time. And we'll leave with this. We'll say the prayer to St. Michael. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray. And do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl about the world seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Man Cave, a weekly podcast discussing the issues that affect Catholic men in today's culture. A production of Salt and Light Radio in Boise, Idaho. To learn more about our ministry, please visit our website, saltandlightradio.com.